Morning. It's Friday morning, August the 26th, 2022, and it's a pleasure to be able to share a few thoughts with you from scriptures today. I'm Pastor Mike Custer, the pastor at Bible Baptist Church in Grand Forks, North Dakota, and we're going to read and consider Proverbs chapter 27, verse 17 this morning. Proverbs chapter 27, verse 17 says this: Iron sharpeneth iron, so a man sharpeneth the countenance of his friend. And there's been a lot said about friends these days, and conscientious parents always say we choose the friends of our children wisely. We choose them very carefully. And that's a good call. 1 Corinthians 15:33 says, be not deceived, good or evil communications corrupt good manners. And this is a reference to associations, and the Bible speaks of the damage that's done of having the wrong kind of friends, the wrong kind of associates. And Solomon warned his own son in Proverbs 1:7. He said, if my son, if sinners entice thee, consent thou not. Don't go along with them, and don't give in to peer pressure. And young people are especially subject to peer pressure. And so the wrong kind of friends can lead a young person down the wrong road, or the right kind of friends can cause that young person to be better for that association. And that's what chapter 27, verse 17 is about. Iron sharpeneth iron, so a man sharpeneth the countenance of his friend. And friends ought to be ones who encourage us and strengthen us and help us to be better than we were before. I've always thought it was a good idea for our children to have older friends who are spiritually focused, and sometimes that's a youth director in a church, sometimes that's somebody else, maybe it's a young adult in the church, who will encourage, who will challenge, who will be a blessing to that child. Even though they're a little older, they've come to some conclusions, and they have arrived at some positions and some convictions that will be a great benefit and blessing to the child. While it's not necessarily a good idea for a child to have mostly friends who are older, and that would incline them to get ahead of themselves in their development, not be content with the age that they are, still it's not a bad idea for there to be a couple of hand-picked people in your child's life to be a positive influence on them, because they've gotten some wisdom, sometimes the wisdom of years, and they've gotten a little bit more experience, and they are properly focused relative to spiritual life and relationship with God and habits and so on. Iron sharpens iron, and friends ought to be a strength and an improvement to each other. A friend should always strive to be somebody who lifts a friend up instead of drags a friend down. And avoid those kind of people. Don't have them as your close associates if they're kinds who always drag you down and make you less spiritually minded than you were prior to that. That's not the kind of associations that would be helpful. And so follow the scriptures, obey God's word relative to this important principle, and be a friend who sharpens like iron, who helps your friend to be sharper, who helps your friend to be better, and choose friends who will likewise encourage you in the things of the Lord and in righteousness and in morality and purity and all of that in biblical lifestyle, rather than those who would influence you to go the other direction. God bless you today.